gentlemen, sometimes life has this funny way of making us feel like we're behind, like we're late for something we can't even name. It's in those moments when the pressure mounts and the silence feels heavier than the noise that we start wondering if we missed it. The opportunity, the moment, the door. But I came to tell somebody today, you haven't missed anything. You are not late. You are right where you're supposed to be. See, timing is a sacred thing. It's not random. And just because it's not your time doesn't mean it's not time at all. There's a preparation happening inside of you even when nothing around you looks like it's changing. You may be standing in a hallway right now surrounded by closed doors, and the temptation is to panic, to force your way into something not meant for you. But every door that stays shut is not a rejection. It's a redirection. And sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is for the wrong door to stay locked. Let's be real, closed doors hurt. Not getting the job, the callback, the relationship, the yes you were praying for. But sometimes what looks like denial is actually protection. You don't even know what's on the other side of that thing you're crying over. Some doors don't open because if they did, they would destroy the very thing you're still being built to carry. There's this process of becoming that can't be skipped. And I know you feel ready, you feel qualified, you've done the work, you've shown up, and you're exhausted from the weight. But strength doesn't always look like movement. Sometimes strength looks like stillness, like trusting that what's for you won't have to be forced. It will fit. It will flow. It will honor the work you've put in, but also the healing you've done in pride. This isn't just about achievement. It's about alignment. It's about understanding that the right door is not just the one that opens. It's the one that leads to peace, purpose, and progression. You don't need every door to open. You just need the door, the one that changes everything. And here's the truth. When that door swings open, it won't make sense to everybody. People will wonder how it happened for you. They'll try to connect dots they can't even see. But they didn't see the nights you wrestled with doubt. They didn't hear the inner conversations you had when you wanted to give up but didn't. They don't know what it cost you to keep showing up for a future you couldn't yet touch. So let them talk. Let them speculate. You don't need validation when you've got vision. You don't need applause when you're anchored in your assignment. There's a timing that's been crafted specifically for your path, and it can't be rushed or replicated. It's yours. But you've got to stay ready. You've got to build in the dark, practice in silence, grow without announcement, because when the opportunity shows up, it won't have time to wait for you to get prepared. It will look you in the eyes and ask, are you ready? And you want to be able to say yes, not because you've become it. That's the key. Becoming, not chasing something out there, but becoming the version of yourself that aligns with what's already yours. So don't let waiting make you bitter. Don't let delay convince you of denial. You are not being overlooked. You are being positioned. There's a shift happening that you may not see yet, but it's real. The people, the resources, the spaces you need, they're aligning. And sometimes the door opens after the lesson, after the pruning, after the breaking. You don't just walk through. You walk in healed, whole, and knowing you belong there. So don't worry about who's getting what. Don't measure your worth by someone else's timeline. What's customized for you can't be copied. There is a divine orchestration at work that is more detailed than you could ever imagine. You don't need to see the blueprint. You just need to trust the process. Every no, every detour, every season that felt like delay, it's all been a part of the preparation, and when the moment comes, it will be worth the wait. You won't have to shrink to fit it. You won't have to pretend to keep it. You'll just be. and that will be enough. So breathe, rest, refocus. The hallway may feel long, but the door is already being prepared, and when it opens, everything will make sense. Not because it was easy, but because it was intentional. We often take closed doors as personal failures, as if the universe is pointing a finger at us and saying, "You're not enough." And when that door slams shut, whether it's a job opportunity, a relationship, a dream we nurtured quietly for years, it can feel like all the hope we poured into it was wasted. But what if the closed door wasn't punishment? What if it wasn't even rejection in the way we've been conditioned to believe? What if it was protection? See, there are doors we pray will open that aren't built to hold us. Doors that look good on the outside but are filled with things we're not supposed to carry. Sometimes we ask for access to places that would shrink us, not grow us. And when those doors stay closed, it's not because we aren't worthy, it's because we're too valuable to be misplaced. It takes maturity to recognize that not every no is negative, that sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is to be kept out of something that would have distracted you from your destiny. You won't always understand it in the moment. It might look like mistiming or a shattered opportunity, but down the line when the smoke clears, when your heart heals and your eyes adjust, you'll look back and be grateful that door never opened. Because closed doors have a way of saving us from settling. We get so caught up in our own plans that we forget not everything we want is good for us. There are paths that would have fed your ego but starved your soul. Rooms that would have applauded your talent but crushed your identity. Relationships that would have felt comforting but kept you stagnant. And in hindsight, we start to see that being shut out wasn't a loss. It was a setup for something greater. But here's where it gets real. The space between a closed door and the next opportunity can feel endless. That hallway of waiting, wondering, second guessing is not for the faint of heart. It tests your confidence. It tempts you to go back to lesser things just because they're familiar. But this is where waiting can feel like the hardest thing to do, especially when you know deep down that you've done the work, you've made the sacrifices, and you're standing with open hands ready to receive. But what often goes unspoken is that the wait isn't a waste, the pause isn't punishment, the delay isn't denial, it's preparation. Timing isn't just about the clock on the wall, it's about the condition of your heart, your mind, and your environment aligning to carry what you've been praying for. There are seasons where it feels like nothing is moving, like you're stuck in place watching everyone else step into their moments while you're left questioning your path. But what you don't always see is what's happening beneath the surface. Preparation is quiet, it's subtle, it's not always loud or visible. It's the refining of your character, the building of resilience, the lessons that strengthen your foundation so you can stand strong when the spotlight hits. We live in a world that praises speed, how fast you can get there, how young you are when you achieve it, how quickly you can bounce back. But the truth is, rushed timing often leads to fragile results. If you get it too soon, you might mishandle it. If you step into it before you're ready, the weight of it might crush you. Timing teaches you how to carry what you asked for with grace, not just excitement. It shapes you into the kind of person who doesn't just arrive but thrive. There are things you're being prepared for that require a deeper version of you, a more healed. We've been conditioned to believe that if we want something bad enough, we've got to fight for it, chase it, force it into being. But the truth is, what's really meant for you won't have to be forced. It won't require you to become someone you're not, to compromise your values, or to constantly chase validation just to hold on to it. When something is truly aligned with your purpose, it fits without manipulation, without desperation, and without exhaustion that drains your soul. That's not to say it won't take effort. Everything worth having takes work. But There's a difference between working with something and wrestling against it. When you're forcing something, you're constantly in conflict with yourself. You're twisting, shrinking, overextending. You're bending your boundaries just to be accepted, just to be chosen, just to be seen. That's not alignment, that's survival. And you weren't born to survive your blessings, you were born to grow in them. When something is for you, it feels like peace. Not perfection, but peace. Even in the struggle, there's still a knowing, a stillness in your spirit that says, this is right. You don't have to lose sleep every night wondering where you stand. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You don't have to constantly perform to stay in the room. What's for you will meet you where you are and invite you to become even more of who you were created to be, not less. Forcing the wrong thing can delay the right thing. We try to pry open doors because we're afraid the right one won't come, so we settle for temporary fixes, for halfway love and half-hearted spaces. But all of that keeps your hands full when what you're really meant to carry shows up. And sometimes life will have to pull things away from you, not to hurt you, but to make room for what was always meant to find you. You can't walk into alignment dragging things that don't belong to your future. You can't embrace the fullness of your purpose while clinging to the fragments of a past you've outgrown. So release the need to force. Let go of the fear that says if you don't make it happen, it won't happen. You are not the source, you are the vessel. The right opportunities, the right relationships, the right moments, they will recognize you. They will feel like confirmation, not confusion. Letting go of force doesn't mean letting go of responsibility. It means choosing flow over friction. It means working hard but not from a place of anxiety. It means staying prepared, staying open, and staying grounded. We spend so much time trying to make things look right that we forget to ask if they feel right. The world teaches us to focus on the appearance, how successful something looks, how glamorous the outcome seems, how well it fits into what others expect from us. But real growth doesn't come from appearances, it comes from alignment. And alignment is quiet, it's sacred, it's the deep knowing that you're in the right place with the right people doing the right thing, even if nobody claps for it. When you chase appearances, you find yourself stuck in cycles of performance. You post the win, smile through the struggle, and measure your progress by the applause. But when you live for alignment, your focus shifts inward. You start asking different questions. Is this feeding my spirit? Does this honor my values? Am I growing here or just maintaining the image of success? Because what good is a polished life that leaves you empty? Alignment doesn't always look impressive at first. It might mean starting over when it would be easier to fake it. It might mean walking away from something that looks stable because you know deep down it's not healthy. It might even mean disappointing people who had a vision for your life that doesn't match the one you were called to walk out. But peace will always be more valuable than praise. And there's no amount of outside approval that can substitute for internal clarity. When you're in alignment, you move differently. You no longer rush decisions out of fear. You don't chase people who aren't meant to stay. You recognize that anything that costs you your peace is too expensive. That's when life starts to feel lighter. Not because it gets easier, but because you stop carrying things that were never yours to begin with. You start walking in purpose, not pressure. And here's the thing, alignment will often call you into spaces where you don't look like what people expected. You might not have the background, the connections, or the resume, but alignment doesn't check credentials, it checks character. When you're in the right place at the right time, the doors open, the right people show up, and what once fell out of reach because your new reality, not because of how things look, but because of who you've become. There's freedom freedom in no longer having to prove yourself. Freedom in choosing what's right over what's popular. Freedom in understanding that just because something looks successful doesn't mean it's aligned. And sometimes the most aligned seasons of your life will be the ones that don't make sense to anyone else but you. That's okay. Let it not make sense. Let it look messy. Let it be quiet, small, and sacred. The inside out, led not by what you see, but by what you know in your spirit. And that kind of life can't be shaken. There's a certain kind of pressure that creeps in when you're in the hallway, when you're between what was and what's next. It's the space where vision lives, but fulfillment hasn't arrived. You can see pieces of what's coming, you can feel it pulling you forward, but nothing in your current reality reflects what you believe is possible. That space will test you in ways you did. It will ask you to keep building when no one's clapping, to keep showing up when nothing around you is changing, and to keep believing when the evidence tells you to walk away. But this is the proving ground. The hallway is where identity is shaped, where resilience is forged, and where clarity becomes non-negotiable. Staying ready in the hallway means you refuse to let silence make you sloppy. You refuse to let waiting make you bitter. You choose discipline over distraction and presence over panic, because you know the right door won't come with time to scramble. It will come suddenly, and when it does, you need to already be ready, not becoming ready in the moment. It's easy to underestimate this season because it doesn't always come with recognition. You may be building in private, growing in places no one claps for, healing from things no one knows about, practicing your gift when it feels like no one is watching. But those unseen moments are not wasted. They are sharpening your instincts, strengthening your character, and teaching you how to hold on when the lights turn on and the pace picks up. The hallway is not a pause, it's a process. It's not inactivity, it's intentional development. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Roots grow underground long before anything breaks the surface. The deeper the foundation, the taller the structure can stand. So don't resent the hallway. Don't despise the wait. Use it, study, pray, heal, build habits, break cycles, become the version of yourself that can handle the weight of what's coming without folding under pressure. It's tempting to assume that when the opportunity arrives, you'll just rise to the occasion, but the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your expectations, you fall to the level of your preparation. If you haven't trained for the thing, you'll drop it when it comes. So train now. Speak like you're already in the room. Move like you're already carrying the vision. Lead like the influence is already in your hands. Not out of ego, but out of stewardship. Because the door will open, and when it does, there won't be time to go back and gather what you should have been building. You won't have time to figure it out on the spot. You'll need to walk through it with clarity and confidence, knowing that you didn't just stumble into the opportunity. You were prepared for it. You were forged in the quiet, refined in the delay, strengthened in the hallway. This is the time to stay ready, to prepare in the dark, to commit to excellence even when no one is clapping, to develop not just your skills, but your soul, because when the right door opens, the version of you that's been faithfully growing behind the scenes will finally meet the moment it's been becoming. And it won't be a surprise. It will be the next step in a journey you never gave up on. So much of our journey is shaped not by what we chase, but by what we trust. When doors close, when timing feels off, when nothing around us looks like what we envisioned, those are not moments to give up. They are moments to dig deeper. To remember that delay is not defeat and silence is not absence. What's forming inside you during the wait is far more important than what's happening around you. You are being prepared in the pause, protected through the process, and positioned for something greater than you imagined. Every no is creating space for the right yes. Every moment of uncertainty is teaching you how to stand firm without needing constant reassurance. Every door that didn't open was a step closer to the one that will. And when it does, it won't just be about what you walk into, but who you've become along the way. You are not behind, not forgotten, not unworthy. You are becoming. And what's aligned with you is already making its way to meet you. Stay grounded, stay ready, and stay faithful, even in the hallway, because the right door doesn't need to be forced. It will open, it will fit, and it will make all the waiting worth it. Keep walking. The right door is already on its way to find you. You didn't miss it. You're not behind. The right door is coming, and it will open without you having to knock it down.